Hey, 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 welcome back to our show. It's Bryce and Jason. Say hi, Jason.
What is up?
What is up, Jason? How are you doing this evening?
Doing great.
Here we are recording episode 6, titled The 4% Rule. Now, Jason, have you heard of the 4% rule before?
I have not, Bryce, and I think that's what we're going to be talking about today. You're going to teach me what it is, and I'll give my feedback, my response to that.
That is what we're going to do. Jason is a smart man. He has his wits about him. He has financial knowledge, and we're going to throw this 4% rule at him, and he's going to figure out what to do with it. I think that this 4% rule, it's going to be actually really simple. So maybe I'm building this up too much, but it is. I think you will appreciate the mathematical genius and simplicity that is in it.
Okay.
That might be fair to say.
Can I ask you a question first?
Yes, but only one
Who
question.
who came up with the 4% rule?
Oh, all right. So I have to confess I don't know, but but what I do know is I got it from the guys at uh uh the fire groups on Reddit, which is Financial Independence Retire Early. The Financial Independence Retire Early folks. There is a documentary called Fire. What's it called? Playing with Fire. That's what it's called.
Okay.
It's on Vimeo, and we watched it, and it was pretty good. We should probably watch that and do like a review of it. It would be a good episode, something good to refer our viewers to go check out.
Yep.
So 4% rule. This is how we're going to do it. Hold on a minute. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to do some math with the calculator. It's not going to be crazy. This is like math that you could do easily on a calculator, like all maths that are easy on a calculator. Okay, never mind. Share your screen. Okay, so here we are with this simple standard calculator, and we're going to do the 4% rule. Now, a couple of things before we go into the 4% rule. The 4% rule has to do with how much money do I need to be able to stop working entirely? How much money do I need to completely stop working? And we're talking like a sum of money that you could live off the interest. And 4% is the rule, even though about 7 to 8% is the average of what an index fund would do. The S&P, has been averaging over years and years 7 to 8%, right? And why it's 4% is because you also want to account for inflation. So if inflation is 2 to 3, or maybe a little more percent, around 3%, you want to make sure that that is taken into account. Because as, let's say you had like $1 million, as time goes on, that $1 million is going to be worth less because of inflation. Yeah. And the interest that you're getting off of that $1 million is going to be, you're basically going to have to account for interest because, sorry, did I keep seeing interest? For inflation. Inflation is going to eat away some of your recurring cash flow. So you need to make sure that that is there. So here's the 4% rule. It's based on what you think you can live off of in a year. So we'll do it with Jason. Jason,
Okay.
you have no rent payment, no mortgage payment. You just have whatever, and your car is paid off. So what expenses are there monthly that you would be like, yeah, this would be something that I could live off, I could live off of, and this would be like, comfortable or whatever. So maybe a little bit above whatever you think you
So
can
you want me to
comfortably.
throw out my number of how much my expenses would be without my mortgage? Like basically all debts are paid off.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, like minimum. Yeah, it's kind of eye opening just thinking about that. Like,
Interesting,
first
right?
of all, just being able to think about not having a rent or a mortgage payment, not having to think about, all these payments to creditors or debt or credit card companies. Or, I mean, the only thing that I thought about was, in order for us to live in this home that we have right now, is like utilities. And there's obviously other costs that go into maintaining a home, of landscaping and all that stuff. So I think minimum, I would say like $1,500,
Great.
and like
So maybe
maximum
round up.
comfortably like 2,500. Yeah.
2,500. Let's do that. 2,500. Actually, yeah. 2,500 round. We'll do the 2,000, and then and then that can be your base level, and then you can try to shoot over that. Like this, we need for sure a minimum,
Yeah.
and then above that is what we're shooting for. Okay, so 4% rule says whatever your yearly income is, that is the basis for what you calculate off of. So 4 times 12 times your 12.
48. Oh, 2 times 12.
Yeah, sorry, 2,000. My bad. Okay, so this is going to be cool. So 24,000. If all of your debt was paid off, you could live off 24,000. But yeah, so we'll go with that number. Now, the question is, what total number of cash would you need invested in a stock market, for example? And 4% of that equals 24,000 a year. So that's the question that we have to do.
We're doing a little bit of algebra here, right?
Yeah. And so luckily you can always use 25. 25 is the number, because that's a fourth. Wait, yeah. I actually don't know why the 25 is significant, but let's oops, I wasn't supposed to do that. 24,000. And then we'll multiply it by 25. And that should give us the sum that you'd be able to live off yearly. So now we'll multiply that to check our math by 4%, 0.04, and we should get 24,000.
Yep.
So
basically,
yeah,
I would need $600,000 in an investment account that gives me a 4% annual return in order to generate $24,000.
Right, and hopefully with the standard returns, it's going to be giving 7 to 8%, which is the market average, right? But you're only going to live off 4%, right? And so that's where it comes into play, is that, I mean, potentially you could use that multiplier instead of 4% and do like a 7 to 8%, and that would be your actual earnings. But it doesn't take into account inflation. You want to leave enough for inflation to just be taken care of. But we'll go there. So 48,000 is what's coming in. You're living off less than that. And so potentially you have room for compounding to happen.
Gotcha.
If per se, inflation wasn't very much that year, then you might have 10 to 20,000 that's just going to be reinvested, and you're going to get compound returns on that for the next year.
Yeah. So basically, okay. So the 4% rule is living off of 4% of an investment that gives you the minimum, covers your minimum expenses.
Right. And they call that, in the FIRE community, they call that your FI number, or your financial independence number. Once you have an asset or something that is bringing in that much a year, then potentially you're at your FI number. It's not necessarily the end all be all, but it is expenses covered. So financial independence is there, but now you got room for building bigger and larger assets.
Mm-hmm.
And so isn't that interesting how accessible that is? I mean, that's taking into account you have a paid off home, or you don't have pay a rent payment, and you have a car that's free and clear. I mean, technically you could take those into account, but
Yeah.
Hopefully it's our goal that those things are just paid off, hopefully as soon as possible, or that they're offset by another asset. But you could have an Airbnb that's bringing in $2,000 a month, and for 12 months, that's your FI number. You're one Airbnb away from your FI number. It's a lot closer than you think, barring no incidents, right?
Right.
Which likely there will be.
Well, and the thing with the Airbnb, you got to take into account the taxes that you have to pay off of that as well.
Right.
And I don't know what it's like if there's taxes involved on there's probably capital gains taxes or gains taxes on your.
It's actually done on the purchase. So the tax is taken out as it's a sales tax. So it goes into Airbnb if you do it this way. A portion goes for taxes, and you can see that in your bill when you're checking out on Airbnb. It'll say $120 goes towards tax. And so with my Airbnb, we're registered with the state of Arizona, and then any revenue that comes in, they can see immediately, and we can take the tax and get it taken care of instead of waiting to the end of the year and having to pay a big tax bill.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I think just for people to understand, like, just because you have an Airbnb or a rental property and you're generating that cash flow, like, make sure you have the what you're talking, if it's gross or net, basically. You got to.
Yeah, that is important. Yeah,
it has to be $2,000 net after all the expenses and stuff like that.
Yep, these need to be net numbers.
I'm going through my words there.
Netty. And so
yeah, I think, like, overall, I think that's a great concept I think that's a great rule to live by, because it's, like, you are completely independent of everything in life. I mean, there's obligations that still need to be met if you own your home. And I guess this is a scenario where you own your own home because you have to have that paid off. Otherwise, I mean, you'd have to factor in rent if you didn't own a home. So
and we could run that scenario as well.
right, yeah. You just have,
I don't know if that's the orthodox
$1,500
way to practice the 4% rule, but it's just numbers.
I mean, yeah, exactly. And so if you bump it up $1,000 or $1,500, it's $3,500, and times that by 25. So you're just, adding more that you need to have in your investment account to be able to cover that.
Right. Yeah. Let's run those numbers real quick. Well, I mean, let's say you live currently off of $40,000 a year, paying all your expenses. You're paying a mortgage, whatever, $40,000 a year. So you take $40,000 a year, you multiply that by 25. $1 million is what you'll need in the bank, invested somewhere, or some sort of asset, obviously, that's paying, that revenue, like this one is.
Right.
So that's so you can come up with your financial independence number based upon what you can live off of. And if you're going to be paying off large expenses, then that makes your FI number even lower. So you don't need $40,000 a year. You can live on much less because, you only have utilities, eating out, entertainment, versus a mortgage payment and a car payment.
Yeah. Yeah. I think overall, I think that's a good rule. And I think that's, for most people, I think that might be a good goal for them to go after, to be able to live off of that.
Yeah. So, and I want to ask in the comments, put your FI number, your monthly FI number, the amount of income you would need generated to take care of whatever you're doing right now. And if you are listening and you already have a car that's paid off and clear, or you have a house that's paid off and clear, or you have rent for free, let us know in the comments and let us know some of the strategies you're doing, because we'd love to talk about some of those strategies to get there, because that is a large expense, and it gets you much, much closer to financial independence and buying your time back instead of selling your time for dollars. So that'd be interesting for me. Put those in the comments.
Yeah. Yep. We want to see those. As we're both taking a drink. All right. I think that's it for this episode.
Right on. Well, ask any questions down there. I know we didn't cover this like the orthodox way of the 4% rule. And
yeah, it was more of just like
introducing Jason.
Going after it.
I'm not an expert on it, but I really do enjoy the fire community. There's some really smart people there that do some really cool things on how to hack themselves into getting to this FI number faster. So maybe we'll do a video in the future on that topic. But we'll go ahead and end this here. Again, post any questions down there. If you're in the fire community, correct us, and we will make sure to maybe fix it in a future video. So anyways, Jason, any final words?
Not for me. That was good, Bryce. Thanks.
Right on. Well, we'll see you on the next episode. This concludes episode 6, the 4% rule. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.